Horizon Jazz, Home reaction. This is Israel kills Hamas leader deep inside Iran. Yeah, that's why I'm making this video from my mobile. I'm just back my way from the gym, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm thinking this is a big deal. Is the war over now? Because as all Israel wanted to do is like kill the leader of Hamas, or just kill Hamas or something. So this kind of achieves that. So I'm guessing all the attacks gonna stop now, right? Look, man, this war is so weird for me, because at first I'm like, oh, there's a clearly one guy wrong, and technically sure, but Israel's response has been really fucked up, right? The way they just like left and right flatten things, right? Netanyahu, like, he was never going to be the good guy, let's just say. This is not like America giving pamphlets before bombing Japan type of shit, let's just say. So this is all a bit horrible. Let's hope it stops now. I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting video. This is my channel, Task and Purpose. Task and Purpose, great channel. It's just like, it's happened. He already made a video about it, right? He already creates a script. Like, how big is his team, man? That's what I'm thinking. Like, how huge is his team? He just like instantly make things. It's not like some vlog type of shit, right? It's always like properly edited, scripted. It's proper video. So it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it.
Israel just killed two of the highest-ranking leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah, just a few hours apart, in a shocking move. The political leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, was killed in a pre-dawn airstrike that took place in the capital of Iran. The fact that this strike was conducted deep into Iranian soil means it's unlike any attack we've seen, and it's a major escalation of the conflict. Now, we're going to break down what this might mean for the Middle East, the tactics involved.
Wait a minute, why is it major escalation? Is it escalation with Iran? Israel can just say like, okay, Hamas was our enemy, why were you harboring them or something type of shit, right? I mean, sure, you care about Palestine, but that doesn't include Hamas. Hamas is like globally recognized terrorist organization, right? So I guess Iran doesn't care. Is that the point is?
And how Iran might choose to retaliate. Initial reports suggest that an Israeli airstrike targeted Haniyeh while he was at the Iranian presidential swearing-in ceremony in Tehran. Israel hasn't confirmed or denied responsibility, as is typical with sensitive operations for them like this. However, the Iranian state media IRNA did confirm that it was an airborne guided projectile. This is going to raise some questions about Iran's air defense capabilities. Israel would have used the F-35 stealth fighter to evade those systems. Now, the distance from Israel to Tehran round trip is about 1,800 miles or 3,000 kilometers, but the F-35's max distance is relatively short compared to other aircraft at 1,300 miles. What this means is that Israel could have used a mid-air refueling operation with a tanker in the air, but that exposes those tankers near hostile enemy airspace. That's why they probably chose to use a newly developed external fuel tank to extend the F-35's range. But what strikes me about this attack right off the bat is its level of precision. The missile reportedly hit the exact room.
Does it surprise you though? I mean, are we sure America wasn't involved? When Iran attacked Israel with so many drones and missiles, it was US and UK and like joint thing that stopped 99% of the missile. Only US we know of with the, I don't know, rapid, no, where is it, Dragon, whatever that's, like sword specific missile that can just take out one target very specifically. Only US can flex like that. So are we sure US is not involved, right? Israel's like, okay, we're gonna say we did it, but come on, help us out here type of shit. I don't know.
That he was staying at in the Revolutionary Guard's guest house. Now, the Israeli Air Force wouldn't have had to necessarily go all the way into Iranian airspace and become vulnerable like that, because the distance from the limits of Iran's airspace to Tehran is about 290 miles. So what this means is that Israel could have used a new type of long-range air-to-ground missile to strike from outside of Iran's airspace. Iran uses a multi-tiered air defense network that includes Russian-made S-300s and Chinese radars. But what's concerning about this from Iran's point of view is that Tehran is supposed to be one of the most heavily guarded air-defended locations in the country.
So basically didn't do shit. That's what it is, like defense didn't do shit. That's not good for like anything, right? That's not good for a Russian reputation. If Russian defenses is what they have, like that's just, yeah.
Shoemaker, he's a former DIA intelligence officer for the United States, and he said The way this was conducted, if the reports are true, if it was indeed an airstrike, rather than using a more traditional means like sending in an assassin to shoot the individual, the Israelis are trying to send a message to the Iranians. The reason Israel didn't try to assassinate Haniya while he was in Qatar, where he normally lives, is because the United States is close allies with Qatar, so there probably would have been backlash for that. The leader of Iran, Khomeini, has already vowed harsh punishment for the attack and said that it's Iran's duty to take revenge. Iran's UN mission in New York said on X, the response to an assassination will be special operations, harder and intended to instill deep regret in the perpetrator. What might that mean? Well, we saw what happened a few months ago in April, the last time Iran assessed that their sovereignty had been violated. They launched a massive ballistic and drone missile attack on Israel. So it's possible we might see another volley like that in response. But who was Haniya, and why might his assassination have a major impact on the region? Some are saying it could even throw the Middle East into a regional war. He's been in Hamas since the 1980s, and he rose to the ranks to become the top political leader of Hamas in Gaza from 2006 until February 2017. That's when he left to live in Qatar to be the face of their diplomatic effort. He represented Hamas as a liaison, a kind of go-between for communications with...
Okay, as far as I know, most of the Palestinian people don't care about Hamas, but do care about Hamas leader. That's kind of like a weird way. But they approve of the leader, I'm guessing the one who got killed. They approve of that leader, but didn't approve of Hamas. So I don't know how they'll feel about this. And look, man, like the leader is dead, right? Hopefully Hamas will be in shatter or something. There you go, like Israel can calm down or something. I don't know. Iran trying to like, oh, there will be, like revenge or whatever the shit that is. Like, man, you do realize Israel has like US, UK, and like that kind of like NATO style power, right? I mean, let's just say you be aggressive more, right? And in the end, like, fuck it, it's a war. That's how it's decided, like mini war. Let's just say half world war or some shit, right? Iran and its allies. I don't think Russia's gonna get involved directly like that. Russia have their own thing going on, let's just say. So I don't know, like maybe China, but even China don't want to like stick neck for like Iran or something, especially if like point blank US, UK, and everybody else is involved. So let's say you do war. Are you seriously gonna go against like US, UK directly? If they say fuck it, let's send like 4 class carriers or some shit, right? Nimitz class carriers and shit. Like let's go full blown war. Iran will look like Gaza and things if that happens. Chill the fuck down, like like try to go in the middle of it. There you go, Hamas leader killed. Everybody calm down now, right? Israel, you got your revenge. Like stop bombing and shit, like that kind of thing, rather than escalating. This is insane.
With their allies in Iran. He was also the main negotiator in a months-long ceasefire talk for Gaza. The ones that have been brokered between Qatar, the United States, and Egypt. The ones that have always seemed close to reaching a deal and then just at the last minute they end up falling apart. Hours before his assassination, he was chanting death to Israel and death to America with the Iranian parliament, as seen here. I guess that's just one of those cultural differences I'll never understand. In London, they...
Hey, how you doing? Hey, people say, hey, goodbye. Like that to America. There you go. It's like one of those things. Even Americans like, yeah, that's not. We don't pay attention to that shit. That's normal now.
Love tea. In Canada, they love poutine. In Iran, they chant death to America. But I don't like to just stay in my own little Western bubble here. I'm going to read to you a little bit about Iran's perspective from their state media. They're saying the assassination is going to make their bond stronger with the Palestinians, and they're going to defend their territorial integrity and honor. The Revolutionary Guards in Iran put out their own statement calling it a criminal and cowardly act. So why was Haniya targeted? The Israeli government has vowed to kill anyone that they believe had a hand in the October 7th attacks that killed 12,000 people. So the strike may have been part of that. Hours after the October 7th attack, he was quoted as saying, "We will continue the resistance against the enemy until we liberate our land, all our land." But Haniya wasn't in charge of the tactical ground-level military operations in Gaza. So the fact that Israel specifically targeted him tells us something, I think. This will very likely put an end to any chance of a ceasefire. It's hard to imagine Hamas simply sends in a new representative and they reach an agreement anytime soon. It seems to me like Israel doesn't want a negotiated peace deal right now. Hamas wants a permanent ceasefire. Meanwhile, Israel has publicly stated their government says that they demand a Hamas complete surrender. Israel has stated that their main war aim in
Is Hamas that level of coordinated though, that if you remove a leader, another will jump up? Because it requires certain level of sophistication in their ranks, right? I mean, usually if an organization isn't that strong, killing a leader could be enough, right? That's how usually it goes. If organization becomes really like organized, then at that point a leader don't matter that much, right? So I don't know where Hamas stays in that front. But look, man, this is such a effed up conflict, right? Because Palestinians basically say like, okay, we're gonna reclaim our land, we're gonna remove every single Israelist or whatever, Jews or whatever, which is like, are you fucking kidding me? That's never gonna. Why? Okay, let's come in middle. Israel in the other side. I saw the John Oliver video and like many other thing. It is an apartheid in the West Bank at least, right? There is like a military law for Palestinians, not military law for people from Israel. They literally take other people's homes and shit. Like, come on. So it's like both of the people are fucked up. Both of them don't want to compromise. Like, who you gonna side with? This is as gray is gonna become, right? Maybe it's more, more gray in one side than the other. Who the fuck knows? But it's just like, I don't know, man.
Gaza is the complete removal of Hamas as a governing authority. It appears like the assassination was meant to send this kind of message that they won't negotiate with Hamas and that they don't consider them to be in charge of the diplomatic situation there. The Qatari Prime Minister said on X, quote, "Political assassinations and continued targeting of civilians in Gaza, while talks continue, lead us to ask, how can mediation succeed when one party assassinates the negotiator on the other side?" End quote. Although Reuters did report that Haniya wasn't directly involved in the day.
Look, man, here's the thing. Hamas was the one who started this shit by launching missiles at Israel. They did say, like, our whole job is to remove Hamas because you attacked us. So killing the leader is kind of like one of those things like America killing Bin Laden, right? I mean, okay, Israel's Iron Dome protected them, but if it wasn't there, like, how many casualties that would have been, like, directly? So I understand, like, if one side, if when the diplomatic talks are happening, if one side assassinate, it's not the full picture, is it? That don't count, right? If Israel's like after this, like keep going on, don't show any signs of like coming to peace table and slowing down, then you're right. But the leader thing, like that's what they said in the first day when this happened.
Day-to-day negotiations of the Gaza ceasefire. As of 2024, U.S. defense officials estimate that Iran has over 3,000 ballistic missiles in their arsenal. These have a wide range of different accuracy, capability, and reliability. If Iran retaliates with a missile strike, we'll get a better idea of how much of their full capability that they used during the first strike. But all this is part.
What if they still have some nukes? I mean, I get it, like there are people have checked with radiation markers and everything, there's nothing. But what if they still have some like smaller nukes in there? That could be catastrophic.
Of a much larger series of escalations that we need to dive into. All of these strikes, the one with the Houthis, the one with Hezbollah, and now this one with Iran, are all connected. On the same day as the assassination in Iran, Israel took credit for a separate airstrike that they conducted just a few hours prior. This attack killed Hezbollah's most senior military commander, Fuad Shukar. The attack was in a suburb of Lebanon's capital in Beirut, a location that Israel had refrained from striking at Hezbollah targets in the past. Shukar was wanted by the United States government for his role in planning the 1983 attack that killed 241 U.S. Marines in Lebanon. Shukar was considered to be one of the closest advisors to Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. The IDF claimed that he was also responsible for the rocket attack that killed 12 kids in the Israeli-controlled section of the Golan Heights. I don't think that they meant that the commander of Hezbollah himself was actually involved in the day-to-day planning of rocket attacks, but what they mean is that as the head of Hezbollah's military, it's on him. Hezbollah has actually denied being behind that rocket attack, which is a rare thing for them to do. It could be because they didn't do it, or it could be because the rocket killed kids and they maybe were aiming for an IDF base located right now.
I was about to say that because of kids, what the fuck, this like we did bit too much. Let's deny it. Let's deny it because it's not going to end well. Very recently, like in past few days, Israel launched a missile in Gaza, I think. that hit a school or something, as far as I remember, and like killed a lot of kids. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Like it was in like news where I live. I don't know. There can't be that level of lie. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I still think about that. Right? That news was few days ago. And still ring is in my ear. Like it literally striked a school. Direct. I mean, it has strike hospitals and things, but directly a school. And there was a lot of casualty, and most of them were kids. Like, how am I supposed to process that?
Near there, Hezbollah and Israel have intensified their fighting in what Hezbollah says has been a display of solidarity with Hamas ever since Israel launched a ground campaign into Gaza. The fighting in Gaza has since killed an estimated 39,000 people. That's an estimate that Israel doesn't deny, and it aligns with their own official statements that they're killing about 2 Palestinian civilians for every Hamas fighter. And they say that they've killed over 12,000 Hamas fighters so far. Since the two sides first started fighting, we've observed Israel and Hezbollah have had daily small arms exchanges, missiles, and artillery attacks. This has destroyed towns and killed hundreds in the border region. Roughly 60,000 Israeli citizens and 95,000 Lebanese citizens have been forced to flee their homes ever since then.
Look, man, if this shit was happening where I live, any means necessary, I would move any way I can. Now, maybe that's easier said than done. Maybe Egypt and places like that would not take one in. The reason where the Hezbollah is basically like other side of like Gaza and Israel. Then again, you have to go through Israel, right? I don't know where you would move, but like I don't know, man. Israel's not looking to stop, right? Like every one soldier they kill of Hamas, they kill 2 civilians. That's an insane number, right? So 24,000 something civilian killed or something, right? So I don't know, man, because this is just insane. How do you live in a place where there's like bomb can drop anywhere like fucking rain? I can't process that. I would any means necessary, even if I have to take a dinghy boat and fucking swim out of there. Like I don't get why people are still there. Like I don't know, do anything. Living is better than anything else. This shit is happening. Nobody's stopping it. So just run away. I don't know. Maybe it's easier said than done. Like I don't know.
Because so many people have been displaced for nearly a year, many experts believe that this situation could escalate into a full-blown war, unlike anything we've seen since 2006. Keep in mind, this is a developing story. All this information might change, so be sure to follow me at CappyArmy on Instagram, link in the description. And all of this is related to a Houthi strike that happened on July 19th, when Israel's second largest city of Tel Aviv was hit by a deadly drone attack. That left 1 dead and injured 12. The attack originated from the Houthis over 1,100 miles away. They claim to have used a new stealth drone in that strike that could evade Israel's air defense network. It flew about 80 kilometers per hour, that's about a 16-hour-long flight. The UAV struck an apartment building 100 meters away from the U.S. Embassy branch office in central Tel Aviv. The Houthis might have been aiming for the U.S. Embassy building. This is the first time a Houthi attack had actually hit and caused Israelis casualties. By 3 p.m. that day, jets were in the air and they were on their way to Yemen. Their target was a major city of Hodeidah, specifically a fuel dump and port facility that Israel believes are a primary vector for Iranian weapons and military supplies into Houthi territory. There's a stereotype from the 20th century that all non-state actors like the Houthis are primitive and unsophisticated in terms of military hardware, but the Houthis actually have a very strong air defense network of their own. The Houthis seized
They just pulled out 5th generation shit, right? With a stealth drone type of way. So that's not unsophisticated, right? I mean, if somebody can pull out a stealth, like drone, and it evades everything, it just like nearly, damages like U.S. intelligence or whatever office. Yeah, that's not unsophisticated. That's something.
Large numbers of ex-Soviet SAMs and radar systems when they overran the Yemeni capital, and they've been continually supplied by Iran ever since. They've also managed to convert some of the older and obsolete missiles into entirely new roles. As a result, they've built a surprisingly robust shield against air attacks, and they've already downed Saudi Apaches and F-15s, and they've recently even taken out American MQ-9 Reaper drones from high altitude. The Israeli strike plan was going to be a challenge. The F-35s flew at the front of the formation, and they used sensors to locate blinded them with electronic warfare weapons. This jammed their ability to detect the F-15s, and the F-16s, which were carrying the majority of the payload and the bombs. In the port of Hodeidah, the strike operation hit 10 separate targets, including 2 heavy dock cranes. At least 6 were killed and over 80 injured, as the strikes against fuel and energy infrastructure ignited a fire that burned for days. This has caused millions of dollars in damage and lost funds for the Houthis. The battle damage assessment is that those cranes will be difficult to replace, and it dealt a severe blow, slowing down the shipping to that main port. Israel targeted the fuel depots not just to cripple the Houthis' strategic assets, but to also send a political message. The Houthis used these ports for arms smuggling operations, and they gained significant revenues that support their forces. Israel has come under international criticism for escalating regional tensions by choosing to hit the port, which also serves as an entry point for humanitarian aid. The United Nations has stated that around 80% of all humanitarian aid passes through this port. Yemen has been under a hunger crisis as the decades-long civil war has created famine and disease for over 5 million civilians in the country. But Israel claimed they specifically chose the docks that won't impact humanitarian shipments. They argue striking back at the Houthis after suffering casualties of their own is essential for deterrence. In response to the escalating situation in the region, the United States deployed the USS Wasp, a big deck amphibious assault ship, to the region right near Lebanon. The fleet has a combined 2,200 Marines from the 24th MEU. Now, a frequent question I get asked is, would this escalation lead to an open ground war between Iran and Israel? Both countries do not have the military capability to attack one another in a ground war. It wouldn't escalate in that direction. It's extremely unlikely that we would see Iranian tanks trying to travel to Israel by ground. There are 3 countries separating them, Syria, Iraq, and Jordan, who wouldn't be down with that kind of war. However, Iran could use their allies, their proxies in Hezbollah and Hamas, to attack Israel by ground. The recent surge in violence across the Middle East underscores a dramatic escalation in regional conflicts. The targeted assassinations of Ismail Haniyeh, Faoud Shakur, along with the unprecedented Houthi drone strike on Tel Aviv, followed by the strike at Yemen's ports in response, all signify profound shifts in the dynamics of the region. How Iran chooses to retaliate is something we'll need to watch out for. As the situation continues to develop, I'll be watching closely and hoping for a peaceful resolution. Thank you for watching Spare Parts Army. I'm your...
Well, there you go. Yeah, it started with Hamas attacking Israel. But then Israel like, oh, we're gonna remove entire Hamas. But wait a minute, how are you gonna do that? It's embedded in the civilians of Gaza and everything. So their attacks slowly kill civilians. Get bigger. Iran got involved now. Okay. Oh, look at that. You killed the leader of Hamas. Is it game over? No, Iran's not going to do that, right? Was Israel ever going to stop after the leader? Who know? I don't know where this is going, right? It's like nobody wants to come in the middle, right? Iran is just like, they are like, okay, we're going to respond. We're going to protect the little people like Gaza type of shit. I don't know. First of all, I saw this title. I mean, wait a minute, Israel's gonna stop now. Okay, Hamas leader killed, but I guess it's not as that simple, right? I don't know where this is going. This might slow down because the leader is dead, or it might escalate and more countries might get involved. Isn't that a rosy time we live in? Yeah, it's just fucked up. Alright, well, if you like my next one, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.